shocked at the hospital by the doctor when I'm not cooperating, when I'm rocking the table while he's operating.
Hey y'all! Welcome to story time where Dinkin tells you his little darkest secrets so that you can sit in a corner and think about what a bad man I am. I'm not a bad man. I'm not. I promise. Just because I'm Dinkin doesn't mean I'm a bad man. You're the bad one. Well, earlier I had a little bit of a shizzle mix with nuggets and cheese and onion springs and bed sheets. Don't ask why I was eating bed sheets, but like I was eating it like a burrito. I just wrapped all the ingredients up in bed sheets and started eating it. And then I got foot aches. My feet are peeling from that milk. My lactose intolerance has kicked in. Should Dinkin make a poem one day? Yes. Well, yeah. This is story time on how my bunghole Betty sucked that gold ring right up. And if you don't know who Betty Bunghole is, it's mine, my bunghole, my beautiful round. Wait, no, that's not right. My bunghole's actually kind of squared off. It's like really square, like Minecraft bunghole. So every time I poop, it comes out in squares and cubes. Sometimes, on good days, they come out normal. But yeah, so I went to Gustavio's house, and he had a golden ring. And I asked him, I said, "Hey, Stavio, what are you doing with a ring on your hand?" And he goes, "I don't know. Actually, no, that was me." I said, "I don't know." Gustavio says, it's for a man. I've sold this ring to a man, and he lives in your neighborhood." And then he asked me if I could take it to him. So I said, "Oh, darn diddly do, yes! Yas!" I said, "Yas!" I said, "Darn diddly do, darn diddly dee, darn diddly do, yes! Yes, please, give me that ring." And Gustavio handed it over and said, "Do not wear this ring, or else." So I kept it in my pocket for the rest of the time. And first of all, I have to have a customer complaint. I'm not a customer, but this is a complaint. His son, Nino, I was sitting on his couch, and his son, Nino, came over, said, "Put your face down to the ground, closer to my face," the kid's face, and then he turned around and farted at me. And then I said, "I'm getting out of here, you little brat." And then I took off running, 'cause no one dares fart in this little man's face. So if anybody ever farts in my face again, especially that little kid, that little boy, I'm getting my guns out and I'm shooting him. I mean, no, I'm not. I'm not that crazy. I would never do that to anybody! Don't listen to what I say, but listen to the rest, not that. So I took off running, and I cried a little bit, and then I'm like, "Oh wait, guess what? I have a ring to put on." So I put on that ring. I put on that ring, and it fit perfectly, and I'm like, okay, I'm keeping this on. So then I drove off, crashed into two trees and a pedestrian on my way home, And then, by the way, the pedestrian was an old lady. I remember her. She was my old school teacher. And glad I hit her. Now, so I went home, and there was a little bit of blood on my car. Don't know where that came from. What? My computer just, what the heck? Okay, yeah, my computer just opened up something. But that's fine. But yeah, I went home, and I went into the living room, and Billy Bob's like, Dinkin, why the heck do you have a ring on your finger? Who proposed to you? And I'm like, no one. I didn't get no girls today. And Billy Bob, and then I'm like, it's a birthday present. And Billy Bob's like, Dinkin, your birthday's in August. And I'm like, well, then it's a Christmas present. And then Billy Bob says, Dinkin, that's so far away, it's not even Christmas yet. And then I said, well, it was a St. Patrick's Day present, just for this little man. But then Billy Bob said, Dinkin, none of those holidays are anywhere near us. And then I said, well, you know what? Today's a new holiday. It's called Everyone Appreciates Dinkin Day holiday. And you all have to believe everything that I say. So, yeah. Then Billy Bob's like, okay, Dad. Well, he didn't call me Dad. He said, okay, you old hag. But I like to believe he said Father. So, yeah, because he secretly loves me. And then, so, yeah, I went into my room, and I realized that something in my good old Betty Bunghole was a jingling, and so I'm like, oh wait, that must be the penny knocking on the door. So because a couple years, like 13 years ago, I shoved a penny up my bunghole thinking I could get it past I thought it would come out my mouth, but no, it never did. It got lodged up in there ever since. Haven't seen it since then. I think it was like one of those like $500 pennies, the one you could like sell and get $500 for. Probably not though, I don't know. It just looked kind of weird. Like a penny. It was like copper and it had a man on it. That man looked really ugly too. So then I decided maybe I should stick my finger up there. Now, the ring was on my wedding ring finger. Don't ask why I stuck my wedding finger up there instead of my pointer. So I slowly stuck my wedding finger up into my bunghole, and then I accidentally hit something I wasn't supposed to, and then I looked up, breathed in really hard, and then my bunghole sucked it off. I felt the suction, and then I felt it like dig a little hole in the side of my urethra. That's not even where, I don't know what body part it was. It was my Betty old bunghole. So it was my bunghole. I promise it was my bunghole. My bunghole. It was my bunghole. My big old stretched out bunghole. I can't believe I lost that gold ring in there. And then, you won't believe what happened next. I'm like, well, there goes my bunghole and my ring. Now there's a penny and a ring, but wait! Next thing I know, the penny falls out! And I hear a loud clank. Turns out it's not even a freaking penny. It's a battery. But I remember loud and clear that I stuck a penny up there, so I don't know where the hell I got a battery from. Unless I'm battery powered. But I don't know what's up there. Honestly, there could be just a whole cow up there. I would never know. Sometimes when I'm asleep, I feel wiggling and Billy Bob says I moo in my sleep, but I don't moo. That's my bunghole. That's why I named it Betty. Oh, Betty. Betty bunghole. So then I'm like, oh shizzle nip. My neighbor, the buyer, is going to be peed off. P-E-E. So then I call Gustavio, not to say what happened, but to call who the buyer was so I can plot to murder them. Turns out it's my neighbor Daryl. I hate him. He peed in my barrel of wine outside. And my lawn and my yacht, my $1,000 yacht. AKA the tiny boat in the pool that the rats swim on. And that one time Chimpo was floating out on the pool. He took his underwear and threw them in a tree. And then peed on him. That's the only time I liked him, but yeah. So he's a bad man. So yeah, I decided to beat this man up. So instead of being nice and telling Gustavio what happened, I go, and this man knows me. He knows that I have his ring. And I'm like, what ring? And he's like, the ring Gustavio gave you at 5 a.m. today. And I'm like, what? And I obviously knew that there was a ring, but apparently he could tell. So he said, let me dig in your bunghole. So I'm like, no, don't dig in there. It burns and all down there. You'll eat your finger like acid. And then he gives me a wedgie and says, drop your drawers. And I'm like, fine. And then I take my underwear off, and he's like, he shoves his finger so hard up there, I think it came out of one of my ear holes. And so then he's like, what the hell is this? He pulls out a whole stroller. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's my stroller. That was there since I was a baby. My mom once was taking me out for a walk, and then she turns her back for 1 second, the stroller's gone, and I'm on the floor crying hysterically. I guess that's what happened to my stroller. But wait, there was a baby in the stroller when it came out my bunghole. So now I'm thinking that I had a twin. I had a twin, and I ate that baby and the stroller. But yeah. So he pulls out a whole AK-47. What? Like, I'm like, how did I get in there? And then he decides to he accidentally shoots his grandma with that AK-47. It was loaded and everything. And then she died. She was like, oh son, how could you do that with a bunghole blaster to my poor head? But wait, she was already dead when she says that, so she had to be possessed by a demon. So yeah, he pulled out a whole bunch of things. This video is getting pretty long. Let me just speed this up. He pulled out tons of things: AK-47, stroller, a whole cat. It was dead. And then he pulled out my mother and a unicorn. And then he pulled out the ring and he's like, oh, I knew it was in here. I could smell it all along. And I'm like, what? Are you like a dog? He said, yep, the name's Derek Dog Schnoopledoo. And I am part mutt. Mama was a dog, Daddy was a human. And then that's when I got passed out, because one of the items he pulled out was a bat, and then he batted me. He hit me in the head, and he dragged me home, and he yelled at Gustavio for giving me that damn ring. So yeah. Why is someone knocking on my door? You know, I hope it's not that Derek guy. Oh, it is. I still have his computer.